Will there or should there be an asterisk by this NBA Finals?
Absolutely not. No, and I think, Dan, if we're really going to go back and take a look at the last 30 NBA champions, there's a lot more things in there that you would find if you're going to start digging into who's healthy, who's hurt, what teams were missing at certain times. I get it in a moment. It's going to be talked about because these aren't just two injuries. These are two catastrophic injuries. I mean, these are two of the big three when you talk about NBA injuries, right? The ACL, the Achilles, and I guess the patella tendon would be the third one. So these are catastrophic. I get it. These are the two names that they are. So in the moment, we're going to focus on it. Certainly in the Bay Area, they're going to be talking about this for a long time. But it goes away, and you don't talk about it anymore. And I think ultimately, a couple of years from now, or when you reflect back on this title 20 years from now, the visualization you're going to have is the dominance of Kawhi Leonard. That's all you're going to remember when you go back to this team and winning this title, because this was one of the most dominant and consistent and machine-like playoff performances in NBA history. And, I am as amazed at watching this guy play every night and how much he has improved his game over the course of his career.
Knowing what we know now and don't know now, who would you say is the team to beat next season?
Goodness gracious, this is such a tough question to answer because of who we're talking about and the potential that these guys change teams. I mean, look at the possibilities and who ends up where and how dramatically different the answer to that question would be. Clearly, Golden State is not going to be in that category because you're not going to see Kevin Durant, I'm guessing, all next year. And based on what we know now about Klay Thompson, at best, you're looking at a guy coming back right before the playoffs. Do you really want to do that to a guy for open ACL reconstruction and put him through a 2-month playoff grind? There's a good chance we don't see either one of those guys next year. I was joking. Maybe they should tell Steph Curry to go away for a year. Just go to an island somewhere and rest your body and have all three of those guys come back together if you can re-sign Durant. So and I don't think Golden State's in that category. It's just based on what they're going to be facing from an injury standpoint. Kawhi Leonard, I still think it's a coin toss whether he comes back or not. Everybody seems to think it's a foregone conclusion he's gone. I don't know. I think some of the things he said last night were telling. When he talked about the connection the guys had in the locker room and how no one had any egos, there was no problems, personal clashes between anybody. I don't think he was necessarily taking a shot at anybody in San Antonio. I think he was just reflecting on the health of this situation, and I think that's really important to a guy like Kawhi Leonard because it doesn't require as much verbal and vocal leadership when you've got a healthy locker room, and I think that's what he's all about. Just show up, do my job, because there's no fires to put out amongst my own team. I think that's kind of what he was saying last night, so I think that's a coin toss. But if he stays, on what we know, the Toronto Raptors would be, I think, the favorite going in because there could be such a different look for teams like New York or the Nets or the Clippers or Lakers. Where's Anthony Davis going to go? So that there's so many unanswered questions of going into the season. Let's just say Kawhi Leonard stays, and the Toronto Raptors are the most surefire bet.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune into Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV. Stream for free on BR Live or download the Dan Patrick Show app.